buries the three his first to the elbow. George, no. There's Brown to dunk it back. Nobody put a rear end on him. George thought about it. Now comes back around the Brown screen, throws it up top of the big guy. And he doesn't have to jump very high.
You know, the Clippers as a team not only should be a lot better, but they should be playing a lot more soundly. And I've said it before, over and over in this season so far, and it really can't get old me saying it because it just has to be addressed. Now tonight the Clippers play the San Antonio Spurs, which I think that's going to be a little bit more of a challenging game than what people might put on or put out to even think that it will be, because I think it's going to be challenging in the aspect of how the Clippers are going to approach the game. What can they, do on both sides of the ball? Because the Greg Popovich team knows one thing: they may not have a superstar, but they know how to play collectively to get the best out of each other and to pick up the slack for one another when they're not playing well. They may not be, a premier team no more because they don't have Kawhi Leonard or a player of his caliber, but they do have each other, and that's how they play. Play for each man, plays for one another, and this is the mentality I feel like the Clippers should play with. Honestly, I feel like if the Clippers had Greg Popovich, they would be a team that nobody would want to see, not only in the playoffs, but they would be a team nobody would want to mess with in the regular season. Because Greg Popovich is one of those coaches where he gets the best out of players regardless of what they do and what their strength is. He knows how to find their strength and utilize it to his advantage to get the best out of them, so it helps the team in the long run. That's the reason why Greg Popovich has multiple championships. Not because he just had Tim Duncan, Kawhi, and players like that, but because he helped develop them players to be the champion that they became, listening through his coaching style. So my point is, the Clippers might have a tough time tonight against a team like San Antonio, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter because ultimately they still should win because they have Paul George and, the San Antonio Spurs don't. And that should be the common denominator right there. But my main thing with this team is, for them to really get better, of course, everybody needs to play well in the starting lineup and things like that. And everybody needs to play well collectively. But one of the struggles that I've noticed with this team, which I've really been kind of up and down about, their bench hasn't been playing very well as a unit. And when you're not getting good bench play the way you should, it's either due to two things. It's either due to the fact that coach is not giving guys the minutes they should be getting to get the type of gameplay out of those players that you should, or players are just not, they're in a shooting slump right now. So just like the other night against the Rockets, I believe when they played for the second time, Moses Brown came off the bench with like 12 points in 13 minutes. And Ty Lue said in LA Times, if you read that on the site, that he was really the biggest difference for them in that game. He really literally helped us win that game. And that says a whole lot about a player who doesn't have a big contract, who probably most people would think might be in the G League or D League or something like that, because they don't know anything about him. And on top of that, they don't really know what type of skill he really has as a big man, which is the reason why he hasn't found a home yet. Hopefully he's found a home with the Clippers. And like I said, I got to give him some credit for that, because he did play well. He did play well in very minimal minutes, but this is the problem. He's not always going to produce like that in the minimal minutes that he gets. So Ty Lue has to find a way to get the best out of all his players. And I can tell you, starting from Luke Kennard and Terrence Mann, they're not getting the production out of them that they should. And I feel like they should be contributing a lot more. I mean, they have nights where they've looked okay and stuff like that, but as long as they've been on the Clippers, I feel like those two players off the bench should play the most superior than anybody else off the bench, because they know they know the system, they know the process, they know one another, they've played, in this system for a while, and they should be flourishing a lot more, at least those two out of everybody else. So, I mean, the minutes are there for these players, especially with Kawhi Leonard being out and stuff like that, and the fact that Paul George has nights where he's so up and down. He'll drop 40 one night and give you 14 the next night. Well, with that type of gameplay, the minutes is there for a lot of other players. It's just the opportunity, or should I say the scoring, just isn't coming. The opportunities is there, but the scoring isn't coming the way it should. And I feel like that can, hurt the team going forward if they don't find a way to build that chemistry and build it fast. So Tyler's gonna have to find a way to get more out of his bench. And whether that means give them minutes at certain times in games where they can feel more initiated in the offense. I mean, don't give your team minutes when, they might be up 15, 20 points or something like that in a game. And I feel like that's the way Ty Lue kind of coaches, he'll give guys opportunities, but he's trying to rely too much on the main guys. And I feel like that's what's hurting the team more than anything. Their bench should be way better. Their bench should be flawless based upon all the talent they have. And they should be a lot more concise in their approach in every game or every opponent that they play on their schedule. And until that gets fixed or until that changes, the Clippers are going to, find themselves in a lot of situations or a lot of close games where they should be blowing teams out and they're not. So I personally just don't get it. At this point, I just really don't get the philosophy. I personally don't get any of that stuff. Like I said, Ty Lue, I give him credit. He's won a championship as a coach, but he's just not doing right with this team right now. And as I said before, I don't want to overreact too much because, it's not really time for that. We're only 8 games in. But at the same time, if you're not getting the production out your bench, honestly, the Clippers, bench-wise, they're one of the worst benches in the league to me. Based upon the fact of how much talent they have on their bench, they should be getting way more production out their bench, especially from Luke Kennard and Terrence Mann. They've been in this operation for several years now, or a few years now, so they should definitely know their way. They should definitely have their stride. They definitely should be moving, running, jumping, getting things in order and, playing at a higher level, jumping to attention first, being, one of the forefront ones coming off the bench with the energy and the spark, and they got a spark. They're getting sparks and energy from guys like Diabate and Moses Brown. And like I said, I'm not saying it's, Terrence Mann and them's fault. I'm not saying that. I just feel like it's more Ty Lue's fault because, as I said, he's known to be stubborn, and his stubbornness has gotten his team losses that they shouldn't get. And honestly, if the Clippers are going to allow him to keep, coaching that way, this team won't go as far as people think. This team will be a bust. And I don't want to see that happen because this team has too much talent, and this team has my favorite player on it, which is Kawhi Leonard. And if Kawhi Leonard's not happy, not getting a championship, neither am I. So I want to see Kawhi Leonard get all the championships he can because I hear about players like Stephen Curry and all these other type players and how praise they get, and Kawhi doesn't get any praise. But Stephen Curry gets praise because he had Kevin Durant 2 years on his team along with a splash brother who can shoot damn near as good as he can, and he's getting praise like he's one of the best players in the world. I personally think he's one of the best players in the world, but I don't think he's even remotely close to the best because he really can't carry a team. Everybody know without Draymond Green, that team is not winning not a damn championship, not one without him. All them years being on this team, he is the heart and soul of the team. Stephen Curry can't play no defense. Only thing the dude can do is shoot. And when he's off, he looks like the worst shooter in the world when he's off. So my point is, I want Kawhi to get more of that credit of being up there as the top. I want PG to get more credit, the credit he hasn't gotten, throughout the years, the 10 plus years he's been in the league. And the only way that's going to happen is this team wins a championship. And the only way that's going to happen is if Ty Lue puts them in the best position possible. I don't want to hear all this crap with the team doctors and all this, oh, well, we're going to sit Kawhi out and all this other crap. Let Kawhi play. If the man wants to play, if he wants to play through it, which the reports out there are saying that he's frustrated because he wants to be out there. He wants to try to maybe kind of work through it and see, if his knee can get better, the stiffness can go away that way. Sometimes when you sit down and rest on it, the stiffness stays there sometime. That's just the way it is in certain situations. Stiffness goes away the more you be active. You see what I'm talking about? So the fact that Kawhi isn't being active how he wants to is frustrating him and his camp because the Clippers doctors are telling him something that he don't feel like he should be doing. In my personal opinion, Clippers doctors, team doctors from years ago, has ruined players on the Clippers before. So this is what I'm saying. This organization needs to get it right. They need to get it right soon. That bench needs to be better. The starters need to play better. Reggie Jackson needs to play better, which I'm really shocked by him not playing as well. And Ty Lue just needs to get his head out of his butt and really figure out how to put this team together and put together a roster and put together a game plan that they all can abide by game after game after game after game after game. Not every other game come up with a different, trying to interchange lineups and do different things and give certain guys playing time and other guys don't. And then you go one game, you give Brandon Boston 17 minutes, I think, of gameplay. And then the next game, you give somebody like Brandon Boston 4 minutes of gameplay. That's not going to get Brandon Boston any damn rhythm to help you if the young guy is good enough to be a talented piece for this team. He's never going to reach his potential that way. You have to give the selective guys their time and get them going, and other guys just have to get what they get on the back end, whatever time they get. That's the way it has to be. Ty Lue is trying to give everybody what they want, and it's only one damn basketball on the court. Use your brain. You don't have to be a head coach to really make this type of adjustment. And I'm sick and tired of seeing Ty Lue do this over and over. I've seen him do it in Cleveland at times, where him and LeBron has went back and forth. I've seen him do it here at the Clippers. It's the same old thing. Either he needs to get right, or maybe the Clippers really need to keep everybody on their roster and get a new damn head coach. Maybe that's what it's going to be, because if they don't win the championship this year, I can promise you, they're going to look at Ty Lue too. Ty Lue is not, he's not a guarantee. I mean, shoot, if Kawhi Leonard and PG after this year, they signed a contract with a 2-year option. After the second year, they can damn walk from this team. So if they lose Kawhi and PG, they don't give a damn about no Ty Lue. Ty Lue can't make this team a championship team. Really, only they can. And this is my problem. You need to really figure this out. I don't need you playing against a team like the Rockets and Paul George has to hit a game winner, a miraculous shot over whoever the hell was defending him on the Houston Rockets, because nobody in the world knows anybody on the Houston Rockets, because they're not even a popular team no more since James Harden been there. And that's my problem. You're making games a lot harder than what they should be, because you're not playing guys the way they should, and you're not getting what you need out of guys because you're trying to, interchange and do too many things. This is Ty Lue's fault, and I'm sticking to that until he changes it. So until he changes it, that's the only way this team is going to be better. That's the only way they might win a championship. But here's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. Check out my other videos if you haven't. And hey, till next time.